What's up guys, Ruppy here bringing you my Week 2 game for the Grand Pokemon League, the draft format league hosted by the Ion Pokemon League and my association, the Ion Game Corner. Still kind of need to get used to saying that again, even though I really probably don't need to say it. I could probably just say Grand Pokemon League. I just like acknowledging the Ion Pokemon League. Anyway, so the first thing you're probably going to notice is the fact that this is not a live battle. This is a replay that I'm commentating over, and I have a good explanation for it. See, my Week 2 game was against the Anistar Aura, coached by Alec. And the thing is, Alec is my younger brother, and we both happen to live in the same house. So if I were to do a live recording of this, I would either need him to leave the house, which, honestly, I don't know where else he would actually be able to get a connection with his 3DS without getting it set up first, and he's still kind of on the younger side to fully understand that kind of stuff. And if I were to do this live, even if he makes a promise to me, what's stopping him from kind of eavesdropping on my moves and acting accordingly from there? It's not exactly in my best interest to kind of do games with him live. So the two games I have to play against him this season, they are going to be basically like this. I'm going to be commentating over replays. I apologize if that's kind of a change up from what you're starting to get used to from me, but I'm just doing what's going to be fair for me in this instance, and I'm still hoping to try to make this as entertaining as possible. This is not the first time I've had to commentate over replays. You can look through my channel to kind of find the evidence of that. Now, the thing with Alec's team, his roster is as follows: Charizard, Venusaur, Swampert, Heatran, Kingdra, Heliolisk, Ludicolo, Terrakion, Houndoom, and as of this week when we played, he still had Murkrow. He has since dropped Murkrow and picked up Pelipper. I don't believe he had access to it for this week, but he didn't end up bringing it anyway, so either one anyway, so it kind of really doesn't matter in hindsight. But it was interesting to note nonetheless. Now, the team he brought, as you can see, is Ludicolo, Terrakion, Swampert, Heatran, Venusaur, and Heliolisk. And that is Mega Venusaur, by the way. It's the only Mega he brought that is a Mega. Mega Swampert's not released in Gen 7 yet, officially. So, basically, his team kind of alternates between Sun and Rain as he sees fit, depending on how he wants to play it. This game, he actually didn't bring either weather, which threw me for a loop a little bit. To be fair, I was not in the best of positions from the get-go. I'm going to straight up say this right now. The only Mon I actually kind of prepped with for this week was Victini. Victini's the only one I did some minor prep with, just to try to see if I could find moves that would hit everything really hard as necessary. Everything else, I kind of just ran with standard sets, just because of the fact that the week we played this game, I was really pressed for time. When we played this game, I was working 6 days that week, and I had so much else on my plate. And it probably didn't help I poured a lot of time into prepping for my AABL game that week, too. So, it kind of put me a bit behind the 8 ball because I didn't necessarily prep, and he did. But I went into this game hoping that just maybe, hopefully, outplaying him would be all I would need. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and get into the battle now. So, here we go, time to get started, as Alec is going to go ahead and send me that challenge. I know, I ripped off Envy, I apologize. Anyway, he's going to lead with El Loco, his Ludicolo, as I'm going to lead with Britannia, who is my Serena. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, Alec's still kind of actually getting a grasp on some Gen 7 concepts, like the fact that he can't fake out Britannia here because of Queenly Majesty blocking priority moves. But he knows that now as I U-turn out, taking half of Ludicolo's HP with me, and I proceed to go straight into Facepalm because I'm running a Thick Fat Assault Vest Horiyama, and Ludicolo really can't do anything to me. So he's going to switch out and go into Mega Plant. Obvious Mega is obvious. And it's going to sort of eat this knockoff kind of well. The Mega Evolution's obviously coming, and this is the more defensive Mega Venusaur, I come to find out. And believe me, if there's one Pokemon I've come to know quite well, especially since it's on my AABL team, it's Mega Venusaur. I know how much of a pain in the ass this thing can be to take down. So, knowing I'm Assault Vested, and can take hits from this thing, I proceed to stay in and basically just keep spamming Earthquake. I want to try to wear this thing down to a decent enough position where I feel comfortable switching in on maybe a predicted Synthesis, and maybe hopefully firing off the shot that will take this thing down. Or if I'm lucky, since he Sludge Bombed me at first, and then he seems content with going for Giga Drain instead, as opposed to using Synthesis, which kind of intrigued me. But it's about this turn I start to realize that this is actually a losing battle for me. Because he is actually getting more health back with Giga Drain than I'm actually able to deal. So it's at this point I get Facepalm out of here and proceed to send in Victini. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Victini's looking to raise some mayhem. And it ends up taking this Giga Drain pretty nicely, so that's already a good thing for me. So I've got Psychic on this thing. And even though I know he could switch into Heatran, I proceed to fire off the Psychic anyway because I want to dent something with an Expert Belt Psychic. And it ends up being the Swampert actually that he brings in. I figured Heatran was coming and I could just catch it with a Focus Blast the next turn. But he brought this thing in. I don't have Energy Ball on this thing. I have Blue Flare, Thunder, Psychic, and Focus Blast. So I'm going to go ahead and get Victini out of here. Knowing the Earthquake is probably incoming. And I go into Serena to take it, who takes it really well. And if he were to set up Stealth Rocks, I could also spin them away. He realizes Swampert against a Grass type is not a good move. So now he decides to go into the Heatran. As I proceed to just throw out a Trop Kick. Which is really not going to bother Heatran in the slightest, unfortunately. And this is the part where I see he's leftovers Heatran, so he's actually running a bulkier Heatran, which kind of worries me a little bit. I figured he would run, he was notorious for running more offensive variants. So I go into Facepalm here, and this is where my lack of prep is going to actually come back to haunt me. Because while running Thick Fat allowed me to take that Lava Plume incredibly well with the Assault Vest, I get burned. And that burn is going to come back to bite me so badly. He's going to go ahead and switch into Swampert now as I just fire off a Close Combat, which does really nothing to the Swampert, honestly. If I had run Guts, then this could have been a whole different ballgame, but that's just a matter of me not really prepping and it coming back to haunt me. So, I'm going to get Facepalm out of there knowing it can't do anything. I go into Numb here, as he fires off an Earthquake. I know Numb can take it. I could have gone into Serena, but I really didn't want to go into the whole roundabout of I bring in Serena, he goes into Heatran again. I just see this as an opportunity to Mega Evolve Slowbro, and then proceed to start setting up on him. And that's exactly what I proceed to do. I go ahead and set up a Calm Mind, and this is when I notice my Mega Slowbro actually outsped his Swampert, which should never happen. And that's why. He reveals the Roar, and my setup opportunity is all for naught. I do end up going into Garchomp, though. So, Life Orb Ripper here is basically Stealth Rock 3 attacks. I'm going to go ahead and get my rocks up to try and help wear down his things a little more. And this is where he gets his rocks up too. Which, I figure, alright, I've got Serena, so it doesn't necessarily bother me. And so at this point, I proceed to start firing off Outrages. From this point, I felt, basically if I go into Outrage, Life Orb Outrage basically decimates just about everything he's got left. Heatran would be able to take it, which is a bit of a problem, but I could work around that. He goes into Ludicolo at this point, and I figured he was just going to try to fake out, just to try to buy himself some time. But no, he actually does not, and Ludicolo ends up going down as well to the Outrage. Now, I'm still locked into well, no, actually, no, I'm not. There's the confusion. I miscounted my turns. So, he goes into Real Beacon here. This Heliolisk that was designed basically to be a pot shot at my team, my Olivine Beacons. And this is where, to my horror, I discover Heliolisk not only outspeeds my Garchomp, And I found out it actually is a few points faster, and he must be running a timid one. But he also has the normal MZ, and this is Hyper Voice he's getting a breakneck blitz out of. And to my further horror, this breakneck blitz is actually more than enough to wipe out Ripper. It actually would have been a one-shot, too. I ran the calcs afterwards. So now I'm in a really bad spot. I go into Britannia, figuring I can probably just try to wear this thing down and hopefully get into a position where I can pick it off with something else. He goes for Focus Blast. I don't know why he didn't just go for Hyper Voice, because it's stab and probably could have done more. But I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Drop Kick anyway, get tremendous damage off on this thing. The attack drop really doesn't bother him that much. He's going to go for another Focus Blast here. He ends up hitting it, and unfortunately it is going to be enough to put Britannia down. So, no Rule Britannia here. I'm going to Victini now because I'm getting sick of this. I want this thing gone. And I have a feeling it's Dry Skin at this point. I'm figuring in the back of my mind it must be, because he's really got nothing, no other ability he can reasonably run. He's going to go into Crater, and I'm actually going to see that coming. Well, actually no, I end up going for the Psychic. I just wanted to play it safe. I wanted the thing going. Psychic actually does it, so... Oh yeah, that's why. It's a crit. I forgot about the crit on the Heatran. So I figure at this point, okay, I can probably knock this thing out of... with a Focus Blast. And as you can see, Focus Blast misses, he fires off an Earth Power. Victini's able to live, actually, but I need this Heatran gone. Plain and simple, I need it out of my life. As my voice cracks. So I go for another Focus Blast, and I miss again. And I'm going to end up losing Victini in the process. So, the first game Victini actually comes to this season, it unfortunately doesn't do anything, because Focus Blast just does not like me this week. Go figure, right? So I'm in a really bad spot here. I go into Numb because I figure it's the best thing I have to really contend with Heatran at this point. He's going to end up switching out. Since he has leftovers, I know he doesn't have Bloom Doom, and he already revealed his Z move anyway. He goes into Mega Plant, unfortunately, as I proceed to set up a Calm Mind. My thought process was, if I Calm Mind up, I can take hits from everything else a lot easier, including this thing, and hopefully I can be able to turn this game around at this point. He goes for the Giga Drain, which does a lot more than I thought it would, and honestly, right here, I should have used Slack Off. I ended up going for Psyshock to actually put Mega Venusaur down, but I should have used Slack Off. Because a +1 boost to special defense is not going to be enough, as this thing comes back in now. Takes Stealth Rock damage. It's obviously going to outspeed me. And Thunderbolt is actually going to be more than enough to make the +1 boost to special defense completely null and void, as Numb ends up falling. So I am in a very bad spot here. I go into Facepalm because my only hope to win this game is to get enough of a roll on Bullet Punch, despite the burn, to put this thing out of commission, and unfortunately, it doesn't happen. This thing lives on 1 HP, is able to finish me off with a Thunderbolt, and I wasn't right on him being Dry Skin. He told me afterwards. The last mon I have left is Frisk, who actually cannot touch this thing. My only attacking moves are Scald and Nature's Madness. If I had actually prepped a little better, I would have put Moonblast as opposed to Nature's Madness, because I really had no reason to run Nature's Madness in hindsight. So, with this thing on 1 HP, Nature's Madness actually can't touch it. It's not going to kill anyway. With this thing being Dry Skin, Scald is useless. So I am unfortunately going to end up taking the 3-0 loss here, which completely undoes the 3-0 win I picked up last week. So I'm now sitting at 1-1 in the GPL with a completely even differential, which kind of puts me a bit behind the 8 ball, honestly, compared to some of the other teams. So it was a bit frustrating, and it was a great game regardless, Alec. You did play a great game. I'm just more frustrated with myself than anything else that my lack of prep basically came back to haunt me. Had I prepped for this game, could I have blown him out of the water? I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it, but I definitely would have had a better chance to do so, because I could have Moonblasted that thing. Well, there were a number of misplays I made too in hindsight that I probably should have looked into more. But regardless, my team ends up losing. I'm 1-1 now. I have a 0 differential. And now I just need to find a way to bounce back. So, that said, thank you guys so very much for watching. I have been Ruppy, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.